Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. My name is Dave Yoster. I'm president of the Managed Service Provider Association of America. Today, we are joined by a really awesome MSP based out of Anchorage, Alaska, Joshua Rabe. Joshua, how are you?
I am doing very well. Thank you.
So I opened that with Alaska for a particular reason, because you're in a very interesting part of the world and you're an MSP. Before we get into the whole technology side of it, can you tell me what it's actually like to be in Alaska and running an MSP in Alaska?
Hey, great question. I think Alaska has its own sort of unique challenges being remote as we are. But I think maybe a big misconception about Alaska, Anchorage in particular, is we're pretty normal. Besides having a one-way wire underneath the ocean, kind of linking us to the rest of the United States. But we're pretty normal. We got our Costco's, our Best Buys. We have the same technology needs as anybody else.
I think you're not wrong there. And I think a lot of people, when we think of like Alaska, it's like this remote location has all its little secrets that are apart from the rest of the main US land, right?
Yeah.
And cold. When I think of it, I think it's really, really cold.
Yeah. Summers are not too bad right now. We get sunlight for most of the day and night, and we get highs of around 70 or even 80 degrees sometimes. I think I talked to a lot of people from we call it lower 48, but have you seen that Life Below Zero show or Alaska State Troopers? And that's their perception of Alaska, but not for the majority of us.
Well, let's get a more realistic perspective then. All right, so you're an MSP, you own Stratus Services. Tell us a bit about yourself and the company.
Sure. So I started the company in 2016. A couple of years prior to that, I had helped write a white paper and done some interviews with some companies around desktop virtualization. And I really only did it because it got me a free pass to VMworld. But as a result of it, I started getting people reaching out to me over LinkedIn for questions on issues they were having in VDI, kind of related to the white paper I wrote.
Sure.
I did that for a while, and I thought, gosh, I'm an idiot. I should start charging for this, and I can maybe make some money out of it. So I started doing that, and eventually I had enough work where it made sense to kind of jump ship and start doing this full time. So I did that at 2016, and my niche was kind of like I'd go into organizations that really needed a system network architect, but really couldn't justify having one full time. And that's what I did for a while. And it was a terrible business model because there was only one of me and only 24 hours in a day. And I was reaching up against that 24 hours. So I teamed up with another gentleman, and he kind of took on the more administrative level, engineering level tasks that were getting over the fence. And that went well. But again, bad business model, two of us. Now there's 48 hours in a day, and we're hitting that too. So about before COVID, we started an MSP side of the business, and that went really well. We were able to hire some help desk folks to help take that on, still do our architecture engineering piece, but now we had the ability to leverage our architecture engineering folks to also help with the MSP side of the business. And I guess that's an elevator pitch of what we do and how we started, if it was a really long elevator ride.
Sure. I hear you saying that the demand often outweighed your ability to provide that, which is why you expanded, right? Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
What I'm also hearing you say is that, in your region, that there is a significant demand for tech support agents, MSPs like yourself. Is that a fair estimate?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think so.
And then, in your region, because, you're not in the main US here, you're far away. Do you find that the skill that is available is readily available, or is it a topic that companies are struggling to find, MSP services?
Yeah, I think like even hiring folks for us to go help other people it can be very challenging, just because,
Sure.
a lot of people looking for better job opportunities. If somebody has a good job and they like to live in Alaska, they're probably not going to leave that position.
Sure.
So a lot of people end up moving out of state, or they have jobs that they really like, and so it can be really difficult to acquire talent. And so it makes reaching out to a service provider like us makes it really beneficial, which is good for business.
Okay, great. I have to ask this question.
Sure.
You know, the East Coast in the last few weeks have been bombarded by a number of storms, right? You know, and it's caused a lot of havoc for MSPs. You know, MSPs, some of their support data centers have been going down because they've been underwater.
Wow.
You guys are not accustomed, or you guys are accustomed, should I say, to heavy snow, to the environments out there. As an MSP supporting your clients, how have MSPs, you specifically, adapted to the weather environments of Alaska?
Yeah, I think the thing that happens to us the most is in the wintertime, snow can make it difficult to get from A to B. If we have a snowstorm, it can make it hard to
Sure.
go get to someone's house. So I think first and foremost, four-wheel drive is probably the biggest lifesaver at that time. But it can make getting to somewhere difficult. So being able to support remote and being set up to remotely assist people is really a key attribute. And then, you know, we don't have the flooding that you're talking about, but you know, because of the snow and because of, you know, high wind that we get sometimes, power does go out frequently. So making sure data centers have and server rooms have good UPS battery backup systems is another thing that we try and preach to our clients.
I'm sure for a lot of businesses that is a big concern. Let's move on a little bit quickly. So, you know,
Sure.
You started in 2016. You said you wrote this white paper, VDI, virtual interface. Your expertise coming into the company. What is your passion?
You know, I just love technology as a whole, no matter what it is. You know, whether it's, you know, setting up a home theater system or really doing nuts and bolts IT, system network architecture and design. It kind of is what gets me up and gets me going. Large, complex tasks and problems. So I love that. And on the MSP side, there's maybe not as much of that going around, but the ability to look at an organization, see how can they improve efficiency and also save money. Looking at the ROI on their investment and trying to present that to them. I really love that piece of the business and of the technology problems.
When we talk technology and business, a lot of companies are focused on nowadays cybersecurity and AI.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a particular skill set that you guys focus on?
Yeah, I think, you know, when we decided to bring the MSP side of the business into the fold, there's a lot of other competitors in the space.
Yeah.
So I tried to think, well, what can I do that would differentiate myself? My background's in banking and healthcare and system network architecture. So security is a major focus in those organizations. So what I wanted to do and what I saw a need for is a security-minded focus for these MSPs, or in other words, as I like to call it, like bringing an enterprise-level focus to a smaller company. And so we try to bring those enterprise-level tools to these smaller organizations and really focusing on security and locking things down and without hampering the day-to-day business operations. And I think that was our differentiator when we started the MSP.
Okay, great. And just to be very clear, I know you're based out in Alaska, but that's not only where you work. You work throughout the United States, correct?
Yeah, I guess I'd like it to be more states, but right now, you know, we have a presence in California and Washington and in Idaho as well.
Okay. And then your tech team is obviously in remote locations as well, correct?
Yeah, the majority of us are based here in Anchorage, but we have people in all those locations.
Okay. So I have to ask, you mentioned earlier on a few minutes ago about, you know, the value add to your customers and your clients, and you mentioned the security based on your background. I do have to ask that there are thousands and upon thousands of managed service providers across the United States. Now, I don't know if there's a lot in your area, but across the United States, there are.
Yeah.
What is it that makes you guys so unique and different from the next MSP?
Yeah, I think the way that we try to differentiate, and there's probably other people, I'm sure they're doing it the same way. So
Sure.
there's a lot of great companies out there, but what we try and do and bring to our customers is having the ability of our architecture engineering side of the team also folding into the MSP side, allowing the MSP clients to maybe get some extra expertise in network and in virtualization and security and in architecture. We have the ability to pull those resources in and have them be part of the day-to-day in the MSP side of the business. And then again, like bringing that security level focus to it, where we have people looking through your logs and watching your day-to-day trends and being able to see if anything is going on. And then bringing, someone like myself in who can sit down with clients and talk to them about, what are your goals? What are you trying to do? And helping see how IT can be leveraged to maybe expedite those or make them more easy to integrate into the organization.
A few things you mentioned there. You clearly outlined the relationship with your clients, right? But something I picked up while you were speaking is that, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like you're developing a very close relationship with your own staff. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think a relationship with the staff and a relationship with the client are paramount to a successful organization. I need my staff, when they have issues or questions, being able to come and ask me or someone else in the company that maybe knows a piece of technology better than I do, to help have everybody know each other and talk to each other, and then being able to talk to the client as well.
Okay.
Good observation.
Thanks. We are coming up on our time limit in a few minutes. I wanted to ask one other question: is what is in the future for the company?
Yeah, I think the goal is to continue to develop, not just in Alaska. I'd like to see that grow. I mean, Alaska is where I'm from, and I love it here. And so seeing that grow and being able to provide a better quality of service to the other organizations in Alaska that need the help, I want to be able to, I guess, have a passion for that. But I'd also love to see Idaho, Washington really start to grow. I think there's kind of a kinship there in those locations that we're at, kind of like a small, tight-knit community like we have here in Anchorage. Yeah. So I love that, and I love developing those relationships with the other companies and seeing how we can partner together and work on those.
Well, I'm sure going to be watching the company and your progression over the next 2-3 years and see, if you follow that trajectory. It's always nice to watch an MSP grow into new communities. It's really nice to watch. All right, so we're approaching our time limit here, like I said. Before we do close this, is there anything that you would like to say to our viewers either now or in the future?
Yeah, one of the things that I like to tell companies that I maybe just didn't even do some basic consulting with is try and understand your IT and your infrastructure. I think sometimes they'll hire a company and say, hey, we have it taken care of. I don't understand it, and they kind of treat IT as this black box that you never open the box and look inside of. But try and understand it, because you might be getting exactly what you're paying for, but what you're paying for maybe isn't what you think it is, or even what you need. So really try and ask those questions and partner with someone that can explain and educate you on technology, on the security concerns, what you should be concerned with, and try and just, I guess, have a better understanding of your IT infrastructure, its needs and its concerns, and being able to make educated decisions based on that.
And I think a lot of MSPs sometimes miss that, right? Miss listening to what the client is actually asking for and propose their own solutions. And I'm really glad that you said that, because it is something that a lot of clients do complain about. So I'm really glad that you hit that point. Joshua, thank you so much for this time. Thank you so much for your insight, and thank you for your commitment to the Alaskan community as well as the United States. It was really a pleasure to have you here. I actually learned 1 or 2 things from you myself, so I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it.
Anyone who's watching now in the future, Joshua, the owner of Stratus Services, website is down below. If you want to reach out to them, go to the website, reach out to them. Find them on LinkedIn, have a chat with them. Even if you just want to find out about some of their expertise, please reach out to them. Joshua, thanks so much, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Thanks. You as well.
All right. Speak to you later.
Bye.